Hi, my name is André and welcome at your guitar workshop. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at Time by Mateus Asato. It's an amazing composition. I absolutely love it. There are a couple of things that are good to know before you get started. So first of all, the E string is going to be tuned down to D. I think that's probably the most important part. If you need the tablature for this, I got the complete thing written out. It's on my Patreon page. If you want to subscribe, you can, of course. It'll give you updates on all the other Mateus Asato stuff that I will be releasing in the future, or Tommy Emmanuel, or, those kinds of things. So the first thing it'll do is I'll play it for you, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. So the first chord that we'll play is G minor, right? So that has your pinky on D8 and pointer finger on A and E5. Second chord is going to be D minor, pinky on D3 and open E and A strings. Then we have this chord here, right, which is E flat add 9. So that is your pointer finger on E and A1, pinky on D3 and open G string. And then the next chord is going to be this one here, which is C add 9 with E in the bass. So how do you play that? So it's got your pinky on B3, open G, then middle finger on D2, ring finger is on A3, and pointer finger is on E2. Like that. And then lastly, we got this chord here, which is your F major chord. It's got your pointer finger on G2, pinky on D3, ring finger on A3, and middle finger on E3. All right? So now you know the chords. Now let's get into the picking. So with our first chord, which is going to be our G minor chord, what you do is you pick E string with your thumb, and at the same time, you're going to be picking D string with your pointer finger. And then, right? Then you play A, D, A, right? And that's all with your pointer finger. Then you go to your D minor chord, and there you play the same pattern. Then you switch to your E flat add 9 chord. There you play the following pattern. So you play E string, thumb, then you play G, D with pointer finger. Then you play your E string again, G string with your pointer finger, then you play your E string again, and then you play D string to A string with your pointer finger. So like this. Right? So those two chords, 3, 4. Then you repeat the first two. And then what you do is you go to that C add 9 with E in the bass. So that is, right? So that is E, G, D, A, and then B, G, D, A, right? Like that. Then you get another repeat. Back to the first G minor again, to D minor. And then we just sort of do a forward roll on your F major chord, right? Now, that forward roll you can either do with thumb, thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, like that. Or like Mateus Asato does, he just pushes his thumb over those 4 strings. Like that. Okay? So from the start, so we got G minor, D minor, E flat, G minor, D minor, C at 9, G minor, D minor, E flat, G minor, D minor, then F. All right, so now comes the next part. I'll play it for you, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. All right, so what do you do? So we'll start with the first chord. So this is the first chord that you'll play, which is G minor. So it has your pointer finger on G3, pinky on D5, ring finger on A5, sorry, and middle finger on E5. All right, moving on to here, which is B flat major. So that's your pointer finger on G7, pinky on D8, ring finger on D8, and middle finger on E8. And ring finger is, by the way, on A8. A8. What a word. And then the last one here, right, is going to be D minor, which has your pointer finger on G10, pinky and ring finger both on D12 and A12. You play open E string along with it, right? So what do you do? So you start with that G minor chord, however, partially, right? So we have our ring finger and pinky on 5th position of A and D. All right, I'm playing thumb, pointer finger, and then my pointer finger of my left hand is on the G string, and I play 2nd position and sliding it up to 3rd, so like that. Then I add my middle finger on 5th position of the E string, and then I play E, A, D, G. All right, so like this. I sort of keep that pressure, and then I slide that whole thing up to my B flat chord, right? So where my pointer finger is in 7th, and pinky, ring finger, and middle finger will end up in 8th position, so like this. Right? Then I play A, D, G, and then I slide my ring finger, pinky, and pointer finger up to that D minor chord, right? So, right, so my pointer finger is now in 10th, and pinky and ring finger are in 12th position of A and D, and then I play E, A, D, G, right? So like this. Then you repeat most of that until here, and then you move up and you play a different kind of D minor chord. So that is your pointer finger and barring 10th position of G, B, and E, and you play open E string and high E string to thumb, ring finger. Then middle finger plays B, pointer finger plays G. And then pointer finger plays D string, and you have that one in 12th with your ring finger here. So then what you do is you play this chord, right? So that's pointer finger on B13, middle finger on G14, and ring finger on D15. And you do a forward roll on E, D, G, and B, like that. So that together. Then you get another repeat until there, and then you play this chord here, which is sort of an F5 chord. If you sort of count this note as well, then it would be an F minor chord. right? So what do? So you have your pointer finger on E, A, and D3, and your ring finger is on G5. You play E and G together, then you play D, A, then put your pinky on D6, make a slide to 5th, and make a pull-off like this. Then you get this part. So what do there? So you have your ring finger on 5th of your D string. You play it, make a pull-off to 3rd pointer finger, and you slide back up again to 5th with that pointer finger, so like this. Then put your middle finger on 6th position of your A string, and then put your pointer finger on 5th of G. Keep it there. Ring finger plays 7th of G. Make a pull off to 5th where that pointer finger is, and hammer back on to 7th like this. Then ring finger on 8th of B, you play it, pull off to 6th, and hammer on back to 8, right? Keep it there, middle finger A7, and then pointer finger goes to E6, play it, and then play the B strings like this. Right? So those last bars. What you get next is the A section again. It's sort of a small variation on it. We'll play through it and I'll point out the differences. So here we go. All right, so first of all, it's half as long. The first part is exactly the same. The only difference is that once you get to that C add 9 with E in the bass, right? You basically do the same thing, but you stop on the B string, right? That's the last note you play. So it's E, G, D, A, B. And that's it, right? So that is your A section variation. Then we get another B section, which repeats certain parts, but definitely not everything. So let's go into the first 3 bars of it and see what's different. Well, nothing. So we can move on to the next couple of bars. And that goes like this. All right, so what do you do there? So what I do is I have my ring finger on 12th of D, pinky on G12. I play that. Then with my middle finger, I make a slide from B11 to B13 and back to B11 like this. Then you get sort of a G minor 7 chord, so that is pointer finger on A10, middle finger on G10, and ring finger on B11. And you play A, G, G, B. Right? Then you get this part. So what you there is you play that B8, make a grace note, hammer on to that 10th position with your ring finger. You slide down with that ring finger to 8th position and then make a pull off to pointer finger 6, like this. Then you get sort of a semitone pre-bend on 5th position of the G string, right? Pre-bend release and then pull off to 3rd position pointer finger, right? So you get this. Then you get the next part, and that goes like this. All right, so what do you do there? So essentially, the first part we already covered in the first B section. The only thing where it goes differently is here. In that section. So what you do there is you have your ring finger on G5, right? You hold it, then you get a bend, release, and then pull off to third position of that G string, pointer finger, and then pull off to open G, like this. Right? Then you grab an E flat major 7 chord, right? With pinky on B3, open G, middle finger D1, and pointer finger on E1, right? And you play E, B, G, D, and then B, G, D, and then E again, and then B, G, D. Bit tricky like that, but like that.